Hello everyone and welcome to the Dice Commando YouTube channel. I'm Andrew with you here as always. This is Go Again, a fabulous video cast covering the trading card game Flesh and Blood. This video and others like this one are possible thanks to viewers like you. Please show your support with a like and subscribe, and be sure to hit the bell notification icon so you don't miss any new videos. If you want to get involved with the channel, consider becoming a channel member. There are many benefits to channel membership, including access to our Discord, exclusive deck tech and strategy videos, and the opportunity to help create channel content. I want to sincerely thank all our channel members, as I truly couldn't do this without your support. You guys rock. Go Commando. Hello everyone, welcome to Dice Commando and the Commando Cast. Thank you for joining me again for what I hope will be a fun episode today. So, as you guys know, I'm a huge fan of Blitz format. I have a lot of experience playing Warrior, some more recently playing Ninja. And when I saw Kassai pop up, I mean, obviously she's built for Blitz, right? I mean, that goes without saying. But when I saw her pop up, I kind of asked the question, can we build a low-profile Warrior deck? So that's what I want to do today. I want to talk a little bit about kind of the thought process behind that, and then we're actually going to build a deck together on video, and I'm hoping for your guys' feedback at the end. So let's go ahead and get right into this. Hey guys, thanks for joining me again. I hope this is productive. So it's going to be something a little different. What we're going to do is we're actually going to, I want to talk a little bit about Kassai and kind of what led me to why I want to do this today. But then we're going to go over to DB and we're going to build a deck together, and then hopefully at the end I can get your feedback on how to make it better, because I am looking forward to playing this deck, right? So again, what I want to do, what I'm showing right now is one of the images from a couple weeks ago. We were talking about Thea revisiting kind of the strategy there, right? So what we're looking at is the ideal warrior, kind of like the dream ideal basic warrior start, or I should say turn. So what we're looking at, right? So remember, and again, we're talking about Thea here with Dawnblade, right? But the basic concept on where we've gotten to where we are with Warrior and how Thea works is you want to somehow give a setup to give Dawnblade Go Again, and then swing again with Dawnblade, right? And generally that's what we see here is you throw a Valor down, you Dawnblade, and then you Dawnblade again, right? So that's your ideal turn, which is costing you 3 pitch, or 3 resources, right? And that's generally what you want to do, is you're playing enough 3 pitches that you can make that happen relatively consistently for yourself. And yeah, sometimes, I mean, and we talked a whole bunch about that, is how there are problems from this, because sometimes you have to pay for your attack reacts, or there's other setups, or whatever it may be, right? But the idea here of the low, well, let's take a pause and go ahead and actually look at Kassai and what's led me to this, right? So her main thing as a young hero, right, she's got standard stats, but her ability, your second sword attack each turn costs 1 less, right? So basically, she doesn't have all the advantages of Dawnblade, and you do have to play her with the sabers. I mean, that's very clear that you have to play her with the 2 sabers, which are each single-handed. But the idea here is that because the second attack's free, if we play Warrior kind of in the same vein that we did before, well, not entirely in the same vein, because we're playing a low profile, which is going to open a lot more things up for us, right? But the idea being that if we use the same strategy of multiple sword hits, which I think we want to, we could in theory be running off of a 2-pitch turn then, instead of the standard 3-pitch turn, if that makes sense, right? Whereas, like I said, with the Dorinthia setup, we had to pitch a 3 to have our ideal turn. With an ideal Kassai turn, you're giving some sort of setup to give Go Again, and then you're swinging again, but this time it's free, right? So your ideal turn here now is 2. Which opens up a lot of, in theory at least, opens up a lot of deck building options for us, because we don't need to worry about having the 3 pitches, which means we can play the red and the yellows, which gives us a lot more efficiency, right? Because they obviously, they're better, they're just better cards from a gameplay standpoint. They have better gameplay effects, right? So going into her sabers, right, we won't look at both of them, right, but because they do the same thing, but once per action, 1 for attack. Now, it's not as good as Dawnblade, right? There's no doubt there. but if it's defended, it gets +1, so it can kind of become the same value as Dawnblade if they defend it, which is interesting. I don't know, maybe a lot of, I mean, because I think in Blitz, especially in Blitz, right? I think in Blitz a lot of times you have to play defensively to set up that turn. So I think a lot of the time you're going to get out of this. And I do know it has to be an attack action card, so there's other options they can come up with. But the two sabers going back to back are pretty hot, right? And then we combine that with some of the new tech we saw from the set, specifically Spoils of War, which I'm showing right now. Your next weapon attack this turn gains +2 and go again, right? And that's the key here. Is a lot of the stuff we've seen for Thea and Dawnblade, it had to hit, right, to get us where we wanted to go. This just gives go again. Now, it doesn't give that same weapon go again, but it gives us go again effectively into the next weapon, which hits for free, right? And then it does the whole thing with copper tokens, which, just to know, actually, I breeze over that on Kassai, go back to her. At the end phase, if you've attacked 2 or more times with weapons, you create copper. So she's pooping out coppers like crazy. So I think it makes sense for us to try to take advantage of that. I mean, it's not really huge. It's not really game changing, but I think there's the advantage there, right? So the other card to come out of this set is Hit and Run. This card's pretty decent, but I talked a lot about this card, how I think it's dual purpose, and it's I think you're living in magical fairyland if you're pulling off both of them generally. But again, it's just 0 to give guaranteed go again, which is good, right? So I think we're playing with this now. What's cool about Hit and Run? Sorry, what's cool about Hit and Run is because we're playing it most of the time, I think, to give go again, we don't necessarily care which pitch it is, so we could potentially play this one all pitches, right? We're definitely playing red and yellow pitch, and if we have the slot, I think we could consider playing the 3 pitch, because, right, giving the weapon go again, right, the bonus of what modulates based on the pitch is that +3 or the +2 or the +1, right, of the second attack, which I don't think we're using for most of the time. I think most of the time we're using this for the go again. So that opens up this one pretty wide for pitch value, right? So I think this card's very, very, very integral. Well, not really integral to our deck, but I think considering that factor, I think it's going to be important to our deck because it's really going to help our resource curve a lot, I think, right? So let's go ahead and pop over to the DB here. Give me a sec. All right. So what we are now, we're at DB. We're at, the fabdb.com. I was calling it the DB, but it's over at fabdb.com. And what we're going to do is we're going to create Kassai Blitz. Okay, so that's down there. So let's go ahead and click on it. What it's showing right now is that we haven't added any cards. So let's go search for cards. And what we're going to go over here, we're going to go search for card Warrior. Okay, boom. So right now we have all the Warrior cards. So the way I want to do this, at least to start, is we'll just go through Warrior. We'll go down the list. We'll just do a first pass. If we don't have what we want, we'll do a second pass, and we'll go fill in what we want with generics, and then we'll do what we need to do as it goes. But we're definitely going to start here first pass. But I mean, the first thing we're going to do, I mean, that's pretty obvious. We're going to add Kassai in there. Okay, and then her 2 sabers, because that's the whole point. Do remember, so yeah, it added 2. That's what we have to check, because do remember if you click too fast on this, sometimes it doesn't work. So we just have to make sure that we pause a little bit. So the new Courage is pretty good. I don't have this one yet, but I'm hoping I can trade for it this weekend. Playing some games this weekend. All right, so up comes Spoils of War. We actually just talked about that one. So Dauntless, I do want to play this one. It's 1 for 3, which is good value. It does have to be combined with the weapon, though. But it gains +3. I don't think, though, this is worth playing the 2 pitch on. So let's go ahead and just add 2 reds and make sure those got added. Okay, so they did. Good stuff. Okay, next page. All right, so Out for Blood. So I think this one, from an attack react standpoint, I think it's just better than Stroke of Foresight, right? So I think we add 2 of those. I don't think as an attack react, being 1 cost, it's worth playing the yellow. But we do have to make sure that we're watching our cost curve here, but it's pretty early. All right, so we talked about hit and run. So let's start off with hit and run. I know we said we could play all of them, but let's just stay with 4 for now. And if we need a filler, we can come back to hit and run. Push forward. I don't like this card, right? So it's your next weapon attack gains +3, and if you've attacked with a weapon, your next attack gains dominate. So it's kind of a dauntless. But again, this falls into the whole thing of we have to be able to give our weapon, we have to be able to give our first weapon attack go again. And it's going to cost us something. At the very least, a card. So that means that we're doing something, we're then pitching to pay for our first attack, then we're playing this. And we're looking at a lot of cards and a lot of resources. So I think we don't play that because it's basically the same as Dauntless, except what Dauntless does is it makes them at least be smart or not defend on the like it just throws a crink in their plan naturally. Whereas this one has to be used kind of in the right slot. So I think we're going to skip that one for now. We could always come back, right? Okay. So oh yeah, I went right into it. So we'll do bracers, bolters. We are playing 2 glints for sure. That's a specialization. So route is amazing, but we're not going to play it here because I don't like the cost curve on it. That's not what we're trying to do here necessarily. I may regret that, but I think we leave it out because the 2. Right, the problem with the 2 is it basically requires us to have everything we want plus 2 yellow pitch in our hand, and I don't think it's going to work. Sking Blade is a specialization. We don't need Iron Song Determination because if we had, we don't need that because it gives the same weapon, right? And we have 2 weapons. Going down here, let's go ahead and add 2 shunts just to have them there. We can always come back and remove it. Okay, going to the next page. So Warrior's Valor, I think we pay. I mean, the drawback here is that it has to hit. But let's go through and look at how many go agains we have. Right, we could sack Valors for a hit and run, but then you're not getting the bonus off of it. That's an interesting call. Just play the 1 pitch Valor and then run. That's an interesting idea. Well, let's do a total count to how many go again givers we have here, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 1/4 of our deck gives go again on the first attack is what I'm talking about here, right? So, that is, I'm going to leave it like this because what I want here is I want the low profile so that everything's more efficient. I'm thinking though that that's definitely a choice. I'm going to leave it as it is, but that's a choice that we could make to swap those for blue pitch just in case we need it. All right, but let's move on so we don't talk about this forever because I think that's an interesting decision point. At some point, we just have to make the call and try it. Iron Song Response, we're going to run 4 of those. Biting Blade's awful. Stroke of Foresight. I mean, again, it's the 1 for 3, but its reprise is really, I mean, it's not bad. It's just not as good. So I think we stick with Out for Blood because we're gonna have a lot of attack reacts here. And I'd rather, don't forget, I want to run Reflex because I like Reflex. Although actually, well, let's finish where we're at. 1, 2, 3, 4 for Sharpened Steel. Driving Blade is too expensive for what we're trying to do. I only play that if I run out of cards. Reflex. So maybe we should run Stroke. Target sword or dagger gains +3. And nothing else. So I guess why wouldn't we run Stroke? Right? Target weapon attack. I guess there's no reason not to run Stroke, right, instead of Reflex. I've always just automatically added Reflex to my decks, but with Warrior and the fact that we have Out for Blood now, there's really no reason to do it. Let me know in the comments if you think I should be running Razor Reflex instead, but I don't see why. Let me do one last check. It's just been so natural for me to just add that target sword or dagger. It's the same thing, target weapon attack. And then this has a little extra for the reprise. So I think Stroke's the right call, actually. I think we're there. All right, so defense, I like Sink Below. I still think we want Sink Below because I'm a little worried about the money profile as it is. So we'll do Sink Belows because that lets us kind of cycle a little bit. Plus, it helps us, right? The reason Sink Below is really good with Warrior, well, Sink Below is good as it is, right? But the reason Sink Below is good is because when you play it, you can cycle a little bit to try and get what you need, right? If you don't have one of those Go Again givers, you can at least try and dig a little bit for it. So we'll go Sink Belows. Now, I always used to run Springboard, but with this set, right? So Springboard, obviously good if you play from Arsenal, but the idea is that Reinforce the Line here, which I'm looking at right now, target defending attack card gains +4. So it's a little limiting in that you have to be defending with an attack action card, but I think a lot of times we're doing that. Well, actually, hold on. How many attack? We actually don't. Actually, I'm an idiot. We don't have any attack action cards in here yet. We'll add Scar for Scar and Rabble, but those would be the only two, and you want to play those because they have Go Again. So actually, I take it back. Let's go ahead and put in Springboard because that doesn't do us any good, does it? It does not. It'll go better in one of my other decks, though, like a Ranger deck. Okay, so that puts us at so 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. So that's 8. Defend reacts. That's more comfortable where I am, or where I usually play. So that's kind of where I like to lie. Okay. All right. Well, let's go add the gimmies, right? So Scar for a Scar, which I love. I mean, everybody loves that card. Scar for Scar, and then the other one that's I think really an underrated card for what it is Ravenous Rabble. If you're running low profile, you want to do it. The biggest thing on this card right here is the Go Again, right? It naturally has Go Again, which is really important, right? So even if you flip a two pitch, it's still swinging for 3 with Go Again, which can then you swing with your weapon or whatever, right? So these are great cards to drop in Arsenal if you have a bad turn or something like that. You just drop it in Arsenal, or defend up, drop it in Arsenal, call it a day. So I really like those. So I'm going to stick with those. So what's that put us at? Puts us at 43. Oh, are we there? We are there because 1, 2, 3. Oh no, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we need 2 more cards. Okay, so the discussion then is cash in, right? So this guy, he does help with our cost curve because he's yellow pitch, right? So the reason I think we want to play with him, A, is because we're doing all this copper shenanigans. Let's at least try it, right? It's a new deck. Let's try it. So add 2 cash ins. It is yellow pitch, which helps with our cost curve a little bit. And hey, if we can get it off, it gets off. I mean, 2 cards doesn't. I mean, it's a net 1 card, right? But it doesn't stink, and it lets us do something with those coppers, which I don't think there's much to do with now. So, okay, that puts us at 45. We do need to go add the helmet. The discussion on, or I should say the headpiece, the discussion is I always used to run Hope Merchant's Hood. The reason is if you get one of those turns where either your cost curve's off, you don't have the pitches you need, or you don't get a Go Again card, you can dig for it. And I think that's what I want to do here. Again, just because I think we're actually a little more balanced here because of the lower cost curve. All right, let's go do our math real quick. So 1, 2, because those are blue. So 1, 2. Well, but we're not going to be pitching those most of the time, right? So I don't think we can count those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So roughly a third of our deck is going to be resource pitching. Right, because they're 2s. I don't know that I like that. So actually, let's do something crazy here. Let's drop 2 Steelblade Reds and add 2 Steelblade Yellows, right? So it's a little less efficient for us because it's a 5 versus a 6, but it helps us on the resource side, which I think makes me a little more comfortable. I am going to stand on the Valor. So I think that does us, right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so it's a 40 card deck. The hero doesn't count. 40 card deck with 6 equipment, weapons. Yeah, so that's it. All right, so this automatically saves. So let's go back to Deck Builder and go in and look at Kassai Blitz. So let's do just a rundown, right? So we have Kassai, we have the Sabers, we've got the Courage, the Bracers, the Bolters, and then we are running the Hood. Obviously, if you have the legendary piece of equipment there for the helmet, the Arcanite Skullcap, you can run that. I don't know why you wouldn't. But the Hood is useful for times that we need it. So we have 2 Alpha Bloods, 2 Rabbles, 2 Spoils, 2 Dauntless, 4 Hit and Runs, 2 Strokes, 2 Scars, 4 Valors, 4 Iron Song Response, 2 Springboards, 4 Sink Belows, 4 Sharpened Steel, 2 Cash In, 2 Yellow Pitch Steelblade Shunts. That was kind of our risk call there. And then 2 Glints to round out the deck. So, I mean, that was pretty much it. Like I said, I think I really want to try this out. I don't know if this is going to work or not, guys. Like, this could be a complete and utter failure. I just think it's a very different way to play Warrior, and I'm kind of excited to try it. I think Kassai looks really cool. I mean, at the very least, her art's great, right? So, yeah, let me know what you guys are thinking about this. Like, what would you add? Does anybody out there have experience with her yet? Like you know, more than like 2 games of experience kind of thing. But like, what have you noticed with her? What works? What doesn't? I think she looks really well positioned in Blitz, quite frankly, because she can kind of tank up a little bit and then just kind of punch 2 or 3 through a turn. Doesn't get those explosive turns, but you know, consistency I think is highly underrated. So anyway, again, like I said, let me know what you would think in the comments. Let me know, please, what changes you'd make, if I missed anything. I mean, obviously there aren't E-strikes and stuff in there because I am just trying to be realistic with what I have here, or at least what I think I can reasonably attain for a reasonable price to just test a deck out. So again, thank you guys very much for joining me. I hope this was an enjoyable activity. I'd like to do stuff like this in the future, but I want to know if you guys like it. So let me know if you guys haven't yet. Please like and subscribe. We're doing fab stuff here all the time. Loving the game. And nothing else, my friends. Go Commando.